Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansu, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And we see them today. We got a very, very serious show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, we're trying to hit 200,000 subs by the end of this month. We really appreciate it if you guys help us hit our goal. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. So this is a topic that just really came out of the blue, right? Really came out of the blue, and I don't know what prompted former NBA player, former ESPN analyst Jalen Rose to say the following. Now, some of y'all are like, well, what are you talking about, Willis? Well, I was going through the internet and I came across an article that was highlighting some comments, or rather some tweets, comments, tweets, whatever you want to call them, that Jalen Rose published today, basically today, right? And in these tweets, he was essentially sending a warning message to American-born NBA players about what he feels the NBA will look like if they themselves don't start taking the NBA seriously and really trying to carry on the legacy that they're, the people that came before them, like the eras of the Kobes and the Jordans and all of that, the Magic Johnson is all the way back. That to really continue to grow that legacy, that if they don't take care of it, the NBA is going to look a lot different. And different. And number two, they could be in a position where they could actually start losing those jobs. So those are the comments that he posted on his Twitter that sparked a lot of conversation. So that's what we really want to get into today. But before we even get into Jalen Rose's tweets, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time, who's the official sponsor of today's show. Game Time Tickets is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets faster and easier than ever. For example, I am super excited about the games between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves this week. With Game Time Tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to the NBA. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, baseball, or concerts, or comedy or theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. All right, let's get into these comments here. These tweets here. So let's go over the tweets first. First one he wrote. This is on May 20th, 10/20/32 p.m. He writes, "Dear U.S.-born basketball players, put in that work tirelessly and show discipline. Otherwise, NBA jobs are becoming extinct." He then put up another post responding to someone where he says, you clearly are a casual. Now, the person that he's responding to said the following. Right, like all these NBA players from U.S. In the league, Tatum, Edwards, Halliburton, Brunson, Morant, and more from America. So those were the comments that he was responding to. Let me just read some of what people said after his initial comments, their U.S.-born players. So one person said, "Man, what are you talking about?" Another person said, "That's the problem. American players care more about their brand, social media, video games, and going to the Met Gala than putting in the grind." I think he's talking about Ben Simmons there. Another person said, "This isn't just basketball. A certain group is being squeezed out of any field or subgroup once dominated with either lookalikes or a different product altogether that we sometimes inadvertently help make look cool by association." Another person said, "Jay Rose did a whole podcast episode on this. The NBA has been trying to grow globally for years, even neglecting American youngsters in the process. So we got to get serious about our youth development." And then I'll read one more. Another person said, "Plus the NBA doesn't want foundational black Americans being 90% of the league. Really, black American players don't benefit from more foreign players," right? And then some people started to take it further. Other people responded. So let me give you guys my take. Let's address this one by Anthony Love. He said, plus the NBA doesn't want foundational black players being 90% of the league. Really, black American players don't benefit from more foreign players. Let's address that first comment. And I'm thinking, how do I approach this topic? Okay, let me approach it this way. So I was going through a lot of my old Dick Gregory videos, right? If you don't know who Dick Gregory is, then you can search who he is. But he's a very, very important voice. Anyway, I was going through some of his videos because I used to watch a lot of his interviews because he's hilarious, but he'd be saying some real stuff. So I've watched, I can't even count hours and hours and hours. I've watched a lot. If there's 100% of his interviews and speeches on YouTube, I've seen probably at least 60 to 70% of them, or 80%. I've seen, and a lot of them multiple times. I used to listen to Cornel West a lot as well, and many others, right? So when you listen to people like Dick Gregory and Cornel West, what you begin to understand, right? Apart from growing up in the States, you go through history, you study history, social studies, and all that. But what you begin to understand is that there is this deep, rich culture and heritage that exists within the United States that was cultivated by the black Americans who were formerly slaves, whatever. And when you think about it, at least that's what I was thinking. Was it yesterday, the day before? I was just thinking, I'm like, man, these people are, what's the word I was thinking of? These people are not incredible, but there's something more than the word incredible. They were just, impressive, right? They're a very impressive group of people. Why? Because they come out of that situation, and then they now have to basically create a culture for themselves, which they don't have. Why? Because they were brought along as slaves. It wasn't like as if people from other countries that migrated to the United States with their own free will. So if you're Italian, French, whatever, so you kind of have a culture that you're coming with, right? That you could bequeath now down to generations after you. But in the case of the black Americans, they had to now create their own culture. And they did that with music, food. Of course, you have religion and all of these different things. But then out of that struggle came leaders like Harry Belafonte, Dick Gregory, Martin Luther King, so many others. And I say that to go back to what this gentleman just wrote. If you listen to a lot of civil rights leaders, which I have, and I've read some of their books, what lies at the core, at the heart of their message is love and freedom alongside fairness. Love, freedom, fairness. I want a fair shot like everybody else. I want to experience the same love that everybody else has. And we have love for one another. And freedom, I don't want to be enslaved. I don't want to be oppressed. Those are the core precincts of their beliefs that now materialize into actions. And what gets me with comments like this is that this has nothing to do with the vision that the forefathers, iconic civil rights leaders, fought for. Absolutely nothing. What this has to do with is a personal fear that exists within you that you now want to project and start holding people back. And to me, what gets me, or rather what else really perplexes me and confounds me, is that you don't see the irony within your comments. You don't see the irony within your position. Because Martin Luther King and all of these wonderful leaders fought for the rights of blacks because they didn't want to be oppressed. They didn't want to be cast to the side. And then here you are. You come out of that movement, not you, some people like this, because a lot are not like this. And then you're like, okay, but we don't want that group. It's like, excuse me? You were the group that was marginalized. You then gain a foothold within the American empire to a certain extent. And then you turn into the person that says, well, we don't want the next group. What? Isn't the United States an amalgamation of just immigrants? help me understand this. Is not the United States an amalgamation of immigrants? Now, some of them you can call them, they were called settlers. Some of them can say, no, you were not settlers, you were invaders, depending on who you're speaking to, if you're speaking to the Indians. But the United States is an amalgamation of immigrants from all over the world. All over the world. So to hear certain people talk about we're the foundation, it's like, brother, what are you discussing right now? What are you saying exactly? What are you saying? Go outside. Who do you see? You see everybody in the United States. You see Asian Americans, you see Latin Americans, you see Black Americans, you see German Americans, you see Jewish Americans, you see Italian Americans. Like, what the hell are you even discussing right now? Like, who are we joking with? Who are we joking with? That's why when Ann Coulter said those comments to Vivek, she was like, well, I can't vote. Like, what? So I'm trying to figure it out. So where do your people come from? Or is it that they must come from one particular, like, what exactly are you saying right now? The point I'm making is, I don't understand those comments. Let's get to Jalen Rose and address what he's talking about and not be distracted with this nonsense. Jalen Rose is talking about something serious in terms of the NBA. Let's get to it. Let's leave the BS out of it. What he's saying is he's seeing the direction that American-born players are going in, starting from a developmental youth level, about the AAU, things that Kobe Bryant, Robert Horry, all of these players abhor because they believe that they're not teaching players the fundamentals to be able to compete in a league that's ever evolving. They believe that those systems are actually hurting American players. That's number one. So he's speaking about it from a youth level, number one. Number two, if you go back to his comments and read it carefully, he said, work tirelessly, show discipline. What is he talking about? Well, if you look at the current crop of NBA players, it's all about the brands. It's all about the glitz. It's all about the glamour. It's all about the bag. Has nothing to do with the product and actually ensuring that the league that the Jordans, the Kobes, the LeBrons, and all of them built can remain vibrant. They don't care no more. And this is what happens. Ultimately, this was bound to happen. The NBA wants to increase his revenue and his reach and get more fans and become more popular around the world. Now, to go back to that person that said they don't want foundational Black American, like, this is the stupidity I'm talking about. We got to stop with the stupidity. We must stop with it. Who has the NBA been trying to market for the last 2 months? Is it not Anthony Edwards? Before that, who were they trying to market? Was it not John Morant? Before that, who were they trying to market? Was it not Zion Williamson? Who's the current face of the NBA? Is it not LeBron James? Who was the face before that? Was it not Kobe Bryant? Who else was the face? Was it not Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and all? Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking? This type of conversation we must eliminate this kind of stupidity. Why? Because it's not solving anything. It's just another reason to sit there and bitch and moan and do nothing. And the more you sit up there complaining the NBA is against you, what the hell are you talking? You know how many millionaires the NBA these players have turned into? Like, what are you talking about? And they work for it, by the way. But that kind of stupidity must stop. The NBA ain't against no damn Black America. The NBA is for Black America. Like, what are we talking about? So the NBA against LeBron James? Like, what the hell are we talking about? I just hate it because I don't go after certain groups. I don't go after. I don't do that. Maybe how I'm raised. Maybe it's my experiences from living around the world. I don't view people like that. I judge you on an individual basis, and I don't have this fear of competition because you're competing anyway, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, you're competing. Whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. And those that embrace it quick enough will be the ones that adapt quick enough. But if you don't embrace it and you sit there talking about, I don't want to, just us. Okay, keep believing that. Keep believing that. You see these all-star games? Do you see these all-star games? Are you being serious? Whose fault is that? Whose fault is it? So to me, look, he brings up a good point. I think it's a real point. We can see the evidence of it with these MVPs. The last 6 MVPs have all been foreign players. Giannis, between Giannis, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic, those are 6 MVPs. 6 of them. Now you got Wemby coming through the door. You got him to deal with for the next God knows how many years. People are arguing he should have been the Defensive Player of the Year. So look, I think Jalen Rose brings up some good points. I want to close by saying I don't agree with what that gentleman said. This is not what Martin Luther King and all these guys spoke about. This is not what he talked about. I never heard him talking about foundational black. He talked about people being together. That's was his, I don't know what y'all are on. And I'm against any group, black, white, blue, green, purple, that's about excluding others or holding others at arm's length. If that's how you are, fantastic, my brother. You have the right to be who you want to be. You and I ain't gonna vibe, and this is just not the channel. I have a deep respect for black Americans. I do. I also have respect for my heritage as well. But what I don't respect is this people saying this stupid. And by the way, that goes in other groups, because some of y'all, well, you know, I don't agree with that. I almost cursed that stuff either. And I cut it off the minute I see it happening. I don't want to be a part of these conversations. But this stupidity got to stop. Number one. Number two, it's not solving a damn thing. All we're doing is just woofing and woofing and woofing. These are my thoughts. Sorry if I was long-winded. This is what I thought. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.